We are already from the IAF refocusing now on our next big event, which is the Global Space Exploration Conference, GLEX 2025 in New Delhi. We see that a new era of space exploration has come up, and we would like to offer you a fireside chat with two very prominent and exciting moderators and two very special speakers. So it is my great pleasure to call on stage the two moderators. Reinhold Ewald, you know him very well. He is the president of the Association of Space Explorers, flown astronaut, and he's the chairman of our IAF Astronauts Committee. And Vincenzo Giorgio, Vice President, Institutional Marketing and Sales from Thales Alenia Space and Thales Alenia Space Italy, and CEO of Altex. Thank you very much for moderating this session. And as speakers, we have nobody less than Pascal Ehrenfreund, our past president of the Federation, president of COSPA at the moment, and she is the GLEX IPC co-chair, responsible for shaping the program. So Pascal, please. And it's my great pleasure to call on stage also Dr. Anil Kumar, who is the IAF Vice President for International Relations and Director of ISTRAC from the Indian Space Research Organization.
Thank you, Christian, and thank you for joining us here on the podium. It's certainly a first-hand report on what is happening further in this year with the GLEX, and we all become already excited. It's already in the name of the GLEX that you get excited for exploration. So let me introduce Pascale to this audience. Probably doesn't need the introduction. She's the president of the Committee of Space Research, known under the name of COSPA, and research professor of Space Policy and International Affairs at the Space Policy Institute, George Washington University in Washington, D.C. She serves on the board of directors for the Space Foundation and as a member for the Global Future Council on Space of the World Economic Forum. For 3 decades, and that is your science merits, dear Pascale. She contributed as principal investigator, co-investigator, and team leader to ESA, NASA astronomy and planetary missions, as well as experiments in low Earth orbit and on the International Space Station, your subject being astrobiology. Yes, Pascale Ehrenfreund also was president of this esteemed astronautical federation in the years 2019 to 2022. And we crossed a lot of times, Pascale, also on your time in the board of directors head of the board of directors for the German Aerospace Center in DLR. Anything I forgot? Some numbers, world ranking top 2% scientists. Okay, so give it to Enzo.
Yes, thank you, Reno. First of all, you understand why I left to him the Pascal, because I will never pronounce correctly your family name. First of all, thanks, and let me just introduce Anil Kumar again. You come from Trieste.
My family comes from Trieste.
But something went wrong in the name. Okay, actually, if I go through your CV, we'll stay here until the end of the session. So I'm just summarizing it. And you are a graduate Master of Science and PhD in Aerospace at the Indian Institute of Science. Today, director of the ISTRAC, ISRO, and vice president of the International Astronautic Federation, dealing with relations with the international organization, fellows of the Aeronautic Society of India. So I guess that if IAF should choose the right moment to go to GLEX, this is the right moment, because we are all living in a very changing environment. So, and what we'll try to do in this session is just to give a snapshot of what has happened so far in the exploration and what our panelists will tell us about what is probably going to happen, with the probably underlined, because nobody knows.
But first, let's take a look back. What do you think has been the most significant milestone in space exploration over the last decade? So something gripping, like moon landings.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for introduction and thank you for this opportunity. Thanks to GNF and IAF. And for as far as GLEX is concerned, let me thank the IPC co-chair Pascal also. Now, considering the question, whatever you asked about the last decade, actually we have seen so much growth, advancement in space technologies. See, advancement in space technology is one of the major reason for whatever we are seeing today. And also the another thing is the private investments. The increased, I cannot say increased, the huge private investment came in space industry last decade, you know. So a lot of, say, like SpaceX, Blue Origin, whatever we call, all these private industries has put a lot of money in this area. And technology-wise, if you see, that is just now we have seen that what Blue Origin is coming up, you know. So many tons into GTO, so many tons to LEO, and advanced materials they are coming up, and a huge volume. Payload firing is so much, 7 meter, so it can contain so much volume. And cost to access, that is space access, the cost is very cost effective now because of these things. And it has changed the total environment, ecosystem is changed, space ecosystem is changed. And also, you see, for last point, I am just taking from whatever the presentation done last time, just before, inspiring the future generations. See, whatever we are seeing here, especially I can tell about India, our space exploration programs, it is inspired our future generations. Just like that, a lot of student community, lot of younger professionals, they have turned to space industries. And in the changed scenario in India, space, actually it was, space was considered as a national property and it was not open to public earlier, private earlier. But 2020 has changed everything and it became, the government of India has declared it as a private sector. Space is open to private sector, space policy has come. So more than 300 space industry has grown up in India. And also the Chandrayaan 3 landing, soft landing of Chandrayaan 3 and other future projects, whatever declared. These are all motivating and inspiring the younger generations. A lot of new young professionals has come with a lot of startups in space industry. A lot of money is getting involved in, invested in space industry. That is the biggest achievement I can see. Thank you.
So it really has changed the infrastructure on the ground,
Yes.
in our thinking as well.
Yes.
Pascal, flashing back 10 years, 2014, Rosetta still fresh on our minds, the landing on the comet, James Webb in the making. What do you think were the achievements of this last decade in space explorations, science-wise?
Well, I think there have been really, really fantastic missions, and it's a little bit difficult, to pick out one. I think what is the fantastic thing is right now we had never so many missions going into our solar system and exploring our solar system like today. And this was this kind of really this preparation phase of working together in a space ecosystem. And I don't want to repeat what Anil said, but the fact is that we have this kind of competition and collaboration between government funding and government agencies and private actors, which bring in agility and innovation. That is, I think, a win-win situation for a sustainable, a space exploration era in the future. And every mission, if it's, the asteroid sample return missions, of course, they are for me one of the major highlights, but it's because I'm working on this topic. But just taking, bringing back a sample to Earth from an asteroid and looking into the composition and seeing all these organic molecules, which are actually, prebiotic molecules and is having the building blocks of life, in these kind of samples. I think that was really, really outstanding. Hayabusa 2, OSIRIS-REx, and so on. So you could go on, and we should never forget that it has never been so vibrant as today. And we hope that it continues. The markets, are promising for the future, but we have really to sustain it. And in this ecosystem between academia and government funding and space entrepreneurs and startups, I think there's a good chance that we explore more and more the unknown.
Good outlook.
Okay, now let's make it a bit more difficult for you both. Well, actually, what you said so far has been also the results of the fact that space exploration was mainly driven by institutions, by agencies, by G2G agreement, and now the situation is changing. It's changing, first of all, because, and we had the proof before with Blue Origin, but many other actors are coming up and becoming a major actor of the new exploration. So my question to you is actually two questions. First, how do you see this changing by the fact that you have many actors, not only institutions, but private, startups, and so on. And this is already a big change compared to what we've done so far. But the second one is even more interesting, and the answer is not an easy one. How do you see the international cooperation being developed in a situation in which you don't have to rely any longer with the G2G, with agency-to-agency agreement, but you have to deal with private operators and with commercial operators? Pascal.
Me too? Okay. Well, as I said, I think there is, obviously, they speak government agencies and private actors and academia. We all speak a little bit a different language, but we have to grow together to be a really powerful space ecosystem. And that works very well if you have good intentions, of governments to bringing those people together. So now you have an additional component of international cooperation. So international cooperation, as we know in particular here, everybody at IAF has been, intrinsic, to cooperation, because you cannot do those large endeavors alone. And I think it was always something important, but there was always competition. And I think it's important, there's some kind of a balance between the two factors, and we have to try to keep what I think is something what Anil can discuss better, how we actually cooperate internationally also on the private commercial sector. That's of course a dimension which comes to that as well. Is it as easy, with regulatory frameworks and regulations? So that's actually a point which has to be discussed. But we see also that all the emerging nations and the emerging voices are important, because we help those nations, to build through capacity building their interest. And their interest with space exploration is really important. And the more nations are there, the more interest there is, the better the space exploration, ecosystem is gonna grow. This is, I have a positive outlook today. I don't know why, because, but I'm just very positive today. I drank too much tea. And I think there are certainly hurdles, but I do have the feeling that we have been always working together worldwide. And in some way, this will actually continue, because we need each other. We need worldwide expertise.
Yeah, shall I? Yeah, the question, as you said, it is very tough to answer, because in the present world scenario, there are no customers there are no industries which are looking after one continent or country, and there are no customers in a single country. So they have to go for all over the world. As of now, There are more than 100 countries. Actually, I was attending the UN Corpus STSC meeting last 3 years. There were a lot of discussions on that is G2G type of things. But the international cooperation, whatever comes in that area, is totally different from whatever we are looking at the space industry, commercialization. And there was, like Pascal just now said, there are many countries, emerging countries, aspiring countries, who want to utilize, who want to take the advantage of the space industry, space applications, satellites. More than 100 countries are having satellites now, and many are on the pipeline. They are bringing up maybe one satellite, two satellites like that. And also the ground infrastructure. It is not only space infrastructure. It requires a lot of ground infrastructure, a lot of software capabilities. And no single country or no single industry can support totally end-to-end space infrastructure or ground infrastructure. So cooperation is required, whether it is through competitions. There are a lot of competitions among the industries, maybe similar type of activities, those who are doing it. But at the same time, they have to cooperate with other industries globally and come out with a proper space application, whether it is space utilization or commercial launching or satellite operators. All those things, they require the international cooperations. Now you see the advance in technologies like space science, space exploration. Basically, when we talk about space exploration, apart from the commercialization, we are looking for the basic building blocks of universe or life on Earth or life on Mars. We are looking for that, Venus. So we are looking for that to find out how we have evolved. So those studies also will help us in future many different ways. So people are putting a lot of efforts, people are putting a lot of investment in studying the space. Thank you.
Yeah, and then let's jump into this future that becomes possible through all the new players providing it. If you had asked me, let's say a couple of months, if not half a year ago, how do we best get infrastructure set up to explore the moon, I would have said follow the blueprint of the ISS. Do a strong international cooperation, rely on each other. Nowadays, I hear more and more the word autarky. We need to have certain autarky so that we are recognized as a player in the future space exploration missions. What do you think are the biggest challenges in sending humans now beyond low Earth orbit? We talk about the moon. And as a corollary question, what timeline do you think is realistic for humans to set foot first again on the moon, I would say, and probably later on Mars? Autarky, international cooperation, which is it in the moment? Pascale.
Well, honestly, I think the main issue of bringing humans far is health and safety. I think these are the most two important points. We are not yet 100% there to, in particular, in order to go into Mars. Obviously, international cooperation is something which we on this table, I think, cannot influence today. There has always been international cooperation. The Artemis program has international actors. The International Lunar Research Station has a lot of international partners. I have not heard that change right now. So I think we hope, but I think we are still, far away from bringing humans to Mars. And I think I don't have to explain that to you. You could explain that to everybody here. It is there is so much research which still has to be done to even have astronauts and back on the moon and staying there in eventually in habitats. We really have to look for their safety and for their safe return. And I think these are the things where research is still necessary, in particular in medical issues. This is, I think, our main constraint in order for the future exploration. And there is a lot of research going on, and this will be necessary for the future. So that's how I see it. Maybe in 10, 15 years, we do have some bases on the moon. and we have astronauts going back there. I think for Mars it will still take a long time.
Yeah, one question. Going back to moon, I think from last time when man landed on the moon, do next time when he is going to land, maybe 6 decades. By 20, this decade end it may be happening because many private players are going to do that, and a lot of habitats we are telling about the maybe base. We have to have some base to go for Mars landing or go for beyond Earth planetary explorations and sending man to some place, some planet, and bringing back safely. That is very important, you know. Even from space station, we found there is difficulty now. So such technological dilemmas are there, but still because of the growth in which I am very positive and optimistic, because the growth by which we are seeing the space exploration now or space industry now, and the growth in which the propulsion systems, what is to be taken, the large energy requirements, and the growth in which the navigation, guidance and control systems, software systems, all those things, it tells that yes, in a near future doesn't mean that 10 years or 15 years, but in a near future, surely man or women, they will surely land on different planets, and they will have habitats there. So very optimistic in that sense. And regarding Indian space program is concerned, we are telling that we will be sending Indian to moon by 2035, 2040. That is what declaration came, 2040, and we are working for that. And also, you know, Indian space program, we are talking about like, as you said, international cooperation. ISS is one of the best example, and we are also, many countries have sent their astronauts to ISS. And India, is it late? I think, I don't know, but still this year we will be seeing an astronaut going to ISS, Indian astronaut, that is sure, maybe within few months' time. And India is planning to its own space station, that is called Bharati Antariksha Station, BAS. That will be by 2035 it will be ready, and maybe first module will go by within 3-4 years now. So we are also trying to have a large, it is called a next generation launch vehicle, which can take huge mass to LEO as well as GTO. So with that, different modules will be launched and it will be integrated. See, we have this January, we have successfully demonstrated a space docking thing between 2 satellites. Our SpaceX, it is called a SpaceX mission. 2 satellites very successfully docked together, and after that we undocked also last week, and now we are trying for another docking, maybe April 1st week. So we are slowly getting technologies, and thanks to the space industries. In fact, these 2 satellites, whatever gone for SpaceX, was designed, developed, manufactured by an Indian space industry. It's called AN Technologies. They have done that. So there are a lot of new industries coming up which will support all these visions for 2047. Thank you.
So my compliments to those who picked India as the place for the next Global Exploration Conference. Obviously, it's bubbling over there in terms of successful projects. Vincenzo.
Yeah, actually, we may go into the GLEX 25, which is shortly coming. And so my question to you is first, we know that there is a large IPC community that is working for the GLEX and has worked for the GLEX. As Reynold was saying, I guess that the selection of the location was simply perfect for the time in which we live. Therefore, the question to you is, first of all, what can we expect from the next GLEX, and if the next GLEX can support the increase of international cooperation? Anil, you first.
Yeah, thank you for that question, and let me thank IAF for doing wonderful job with ISRO in organizing this GLEX. As you said, there were historical or tremendous support abstracts were there. 1300, nearly 1300 abstracts we received it. And also, it's a record, in fact, regarding the global conferences. And out of that, about 650% papers are accepted. A tremendous job done by IPC. Let me appreciate and comment on the efforts taken by IPC co-chair Ms. Pascale and also Victor from ISRO and their team. They have done a wonderful job in selecting. It's not a simple job, selecting 600. I know Lisa will be thinking about how to select 3,000 from so many things. Okay, so the work is done very good. And as you asked what we expect, when we finalized the topics for this GLEX conference, 15 topics were selected, and we did not leave any topics which is contributing to the technological knowledge, managerial knowledge, commercialization, and also sustainability type of things, policy. No topics are left behind. So all the topics are there in this GLEX conference. We have got enough number of papers, and all papers will be, I think it is all high quality presentations we can see there, and also selection of plenaries, panels, etc. Pascal can describe further on that. So best topics are selected in GLEX. And also I can tell you regarding the space exploration, India suggested why ISRO has selected this space exploration as the theme for this conference, global conference. You know, we have last 2 years we have successfully demonstrated many things. Apart from the Chandrayaan 2, Chandrayaan 3, Aditya L1 was a tremendous mission, you know. It was a solar observatory in L1 point. So that is giving so much. And now, one thing I can tell you, these data from the Chandrayaan 3 and Aditya L1 and another thing is called as ExpoSat, all the science missions data is available publicly, freely for the research students across the globe. It is already, dissemination is taken place. You can go to the ISRO website, get the data from that, and you can do research on it, analysis on it, bring out good papers, quality papers, get PhDs, get more products for that, space products, data products, and maybe commercialization also possible. So that is why we went for GLEX, and we expect very high return from GLEX. Thank you.
Pascal?
Well, there's not much to add, but we had an IPC, a program committee of 50 people, and we really want to thank them because it was, I think, no symposium had such a big IPC, and they were all really helpful. And I think what's important, what you said, that we have a lot of technical sessions which discuss, what will be feasible, what do we need in order, to go further into space. And I just want to highlight the 3 panels. We are going to discuss, the transition, of the space stations into a new low Earth orbit or probably new commercial space stations. We are gonna look into, of course, lunar bases and the future of lunar exploration. As you all know, at the moment we have 155 missions which are planned. They will not all go, but planned to the moon. From between now and 2034, yeah. So that's quite amazing, and we have seen, in the last months, what all can be achieved. And our last plenary panel is actually on, space for all. What does it mean actually? Who is all implicated in space exploration? And it's also society, and so I think this really. Covers a large part of exploration, and how do we go in the future with in this kind of ecosystem. And obviously we cannot miss society at large, because they have to be interested in order to have a sustainable space exploration program for the future. So I think that's all, and of course Indian hospitality and the cultural program, not to forget. So it will be really amazing part and hot.
A touch of Mahal in this respect. If we flash forward, I don't know whether this is an English word to say flash forward, 10 years, let's not be too optimistic, 10 years. What is the breaking news session you will be attending in the GLEX in 2023 2035 somewhere in the world? What is the breaking news of the year 2035? 10 years, it's realistic. Yes, please. I think
I have already answered.
Can I give you my guess? I mean, my guess is finally we managed to bring ISS down in one piece.
That's fine. Breaking news. Okay. Breaking news, as I said, if everything goes well, breaking news will be in India will be, or in the world will be, Indian on the moon. Okay. Or Bharatiya station is ready for microgravity experiments. Maybe what you said is right. ISS will be decommissioned. Maybe private people's space station is their own. And they are doing wonderful jobs. Maybe it has changed our medical system totally. Maybe that may be going to come. So like that, many breaking news can be there. But one news should be, whether it is break or not, sustainability of the space should be assured, Otherwise, these things are a very big problem. Space objects are going up. Operational objects 10,000. Debris more than 10 centimeter size, 30, 40,000. And by 2035, it crossed a million. If you get a news like that, breaking news like that, it will be totally devastating for space ecosystem, space industry. There was huge money, huge investment is there. The space sustainability is to be very seriously to be considered. So we have to get a very happy breaking news in 2035, not a happy news that objects are getting collided each other, getting into problem, and millions of debris objects are there in the space. So as IAF community and as our motto also tells that sustainable space is one of the major requirements, right?
What I would say 10 to 15 years, and since he covered the moon, so
Okay, you're allowed to
yeah, since he covered the moon, I'm gonna cover the low Earth orbit, and I hope that by then we will have commercial space stations, and I would just wish that it will be possible for the young generation, for students, to do to go there and actually do experiments on these commercial space stations in about 10 to 15 years. So I think this would be for me the breaking news.
Okay, so maybe I can answer your question. My breaking news is, first of all, in 15 years I'll be retired. And the breaking news is that
ExoMars is on
with
Mars.
ExoMars on Mars, and I would spend maybe a week or two around the Earth. So, okay, it's obviously a joke, but let's thank all of you for this great discussion, and our panelists were simply excellent. We look forward to see you in the next chapter and the GLEX 2025. Thank you.
Please register for GLEX.
Thank you. Please attend the GLEX. Please join us. Please join us in GLEX at Delhi, New Delhi. As already said, a lot of things are in store for you. Please come. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very well, Mama.